Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Ethereum just confirmed a new signal on the daily time frame, while Bitcoin is currently bouncing from short-term support. And on top of that, we have major Bitcoin news today, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a quick update here on the daily Bitcoin chart, and right now, as of recording this video, the short-term trend and momentum is still looking more bearish than bullish, because obviously over the last few days, we have seen a recent breakdown in the price below this ascending line of support, so falling out from this ascending parallel channel, and at the same time, of course, we've seen a break to the downside in the RSI and a bearish cross just recently, a few days ago, here in the daily Bitcoin MACD, showing some more bearish momentum building up on the daily time frame. And of course, this has happened just after we saw that major rejection from this significant area of resistance here on the daily chart, sitting in between around 27.9k to 28.2k. And as for significant support based on the volume profile indicator here on the daily time frame, we have significant support in between around 24.4k to 25k approximately. And in case you missed my last video on the channel, right now Bitcoin is potentially repeating history, because of course this is not the first time we have seen a rejection from this significant area of resistance, because so far this year we have seen two other examples where the price of Bitcoin has rejected from this exact area of resistance, and in both of those previous examples we actually saw the price of Bitcoin retrace back to this green area right here, this area of support. And if you want to know more about that and my thoughts on Bitcoin repeating history, then check out my last video on the channel for more detailed analysis on this chart right here. And if you're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 6-hour Bitcoin chart, right now, as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is actually bouncing from this short-term level of support, which is the 50% retracement level, sitting at approximately 26.6 to 26.7k. But if we end up seeing a confirmed break back below that level of support, then in that case, the next short-term support to pay attention to is the golden pocket, sitting in between around 26.1k to 26.3k. But in a more bearish scenario, if the price actually broke back below that golden pocket, then in that case, the 78.6% Fibonacci level of support is sitting at around 25.6 to 25.7k. And as for short-term resistance, in case this bounce continues further to the upside, then in that case, we have this level of resistance at around 27.1k, which we have just seen a small rejection from over the last one day. But if we end up seeing a breakout back above 27.1k, then in that case, we should expect some resistance at around 27.6 to 27.7k, and some more resistance closer towards these local highs. Once again, that significant area of resistance in between around 27.9k to 28.2k. And something worth paying attention to is the fact that there's a major liquidity zone, a major liquidation zone, sitting in between around 26.4k to 26.6k. And what that actually means is essentially there's a lot of liquidity in that zone, so usually the price tends to go towards those high liquidity areas on the chart. So potentially, if that liquidity stays there over the next few days after this short-term bounce plays out to help reset the RSI in the short term, then it's possible in a couple days from now the price could retrace back into that area right there that I just mentioned. But once again, as I mentioned for the last 2 days here on the channel, the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI recently entered into oversold territories, which means we have limited room to the downside just in the short term here. And so we're due to see either some choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bounce in the short term to help reset the RSI back to the upside. And obviously, since I said that around 2 days ago, this is exactly what has been now playing out in the short term as expected. And once again, this could potentially continue to play out over the next 1 to 2 days, just in the short term here to help reset the RSI further to the upside. But it is important to understand that this signal by itself does not necessarily mean that the bottom is in for this retracement and we're going to flip much more bullish again, because for example, a possibility that we need to consider is a bit of a bounce or consolidation here in the short term, possibly for the next couple couple of days, which resets the RSI, which can give us more room to the downside later on after this small pause from this retracement. So in order to flip much more bullish again and continue on with this previous bullish trend here, I'll need to see more bullish confirmation signals like confirmed breakouts above some of these levels of resistance at least. And in order to become much more bullish again, we really need to break out above this major resistance on the daily time frame that I mentioned earlier. But speaking of flipping bullish, it looks like Ferrari has just flipped more bullish on Bitcoin and crypto, because in the latest Bitcoin news today and crypto news today, of course, Ferrari is now accepting Bitcoin and crypto as an official payment method for their cars. And now, obviously, this doesn't really have much of an effect on the average person out there, but those of you watching this video now could be looking at this in a couple years from now, doing all right with Bitcoin and crypto. But either way, this is simply another company out there, a very well-known company, now turning to Bitcoin and crypto as an official payment, which legitimizes Bitcoin and crypto as a payment method. And so, of course, this is helping to increase adoption slowly, one by one. Companies will begin accepting Bitcoin and crypto as Ferrari has here. And as I also said in this tweet, I tagged Elon Musk, when will Tesla resume crypto payments? Because back in 2021, obviously, Tesla did accept Bitcoin as a payment method, and then they later stopped accepting Bitcoin because Bitcoin mining was not renewable enough. It was not using enough clean energy. But since then, Bitcoin miners have been using much more clean energy. And if you actually look at the numbers, the majority of Bitcoin miners are now using clean, sustainable energy, more than 50%, which was actually Elon Musk's threshold for accepting Bitcoin again. And so hopefully Elon Musk sticks to his word and begins accepting Bitcoin again over at Tesla, because once again, the more companies that start accepting Bitcoin and crypto, the further that adoption goes. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and over the last one day, the price of ETH has not really moved all that much here on this chart. And so looking at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, first of all, the daily Ethereum MACD is still looking more bearish than bullish, but with that being said, it is not showing as much bearish momentum over the last one day or so. And so basically, if this continues, it's possible we could see a bit of a sideways consolidation just in the short term, because once again, at the moment, we're lacking momentum. And as for the daily Ethereum RSI, over the last one day, we have now confirmed one daily candle close in the green. And so essentially, this confirms at least a small bounce in place here in the daily Ethereum RSI. And so essentially, this is one initial confirmation signal to help confirm the new bullish divergence pattern here on the daily time frame. But ideally, in order to become more confident that this bullish divergence is actually confirmed and we're going to see it start play out, we ideally need to see a little bit more of a bounce here in the RSI to actually fully cement and be confident that this higher low is in place in the RSI, because obviously as of right now, the bounce is relatively weak in the RSI, which means it's possible we could just continue drifting to the downside over the next few days if we do not see any more green candles here in the price. So basically, in order to become more confident that this bullish divergence is confirmed, we need to ideally see at least another one, if not another one or two daily candle closes confirm in the green, with a decent bounce in the price, perhaps back up towards around 1570 to 1580. And if we see that, of course, that can bring the RSI further back to the upside, confirming that yes, we do have higher lows in place here in the RSI, which would obviously then confirm the bullish divergence, meaning we're due to see reduced bearish momentum. And so bullish divergences usually play out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief as the most common outcomes. So potentially expect that over the next 1 to 2 weeks if this confirms over the next 1 to 2 days. And as for significant levels of support on the daily time frame, we are still holding above this 50% retracement level, sitting at around 1510 to 1520, and also trading around these previous lows, acting as support at around 1530 to 1540. But as I've mentioned in recent videos here on the channel, if we see a confirmed break back below this level, back below around 1.5k with confirmation, then in that case, the next significant area of support on the daily time frame is the golden pocket sitting in between around 1360 to 1.4k. And if you're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 6-hour ETH to US dollar chart, obviously over the last one day or so, we have seen a little bit more of a bounce from this short-term level of support based on this previous low sitting at around 1530. And once again, like I said, over the last 1 to 2 days, the 6-hour Ethereum RSI has just recently entered into oversold territories, meaning we have very limited room to the downside in the short term, and we do to see either a sideways consolidation, if not a slight bounce in the short term, to help reset the RSI. And obviously, over the last one day, this has now been playing out as expected. But once again, this signal by itself in the 6-hour Ethereum RSI does not actually guarantee that the low is in and we're going to flip much more bullish again. Because once again, as I explained earlier in the video, it's possible the price just continues a little bit more of a bounce or sideways consolidation, possibly over the next 1 to 2 days, which can help to reset the RSI further, which can actually give us more room to the downside later on. So that's just a possibility to consider moving forward, but at least for now, we are resetting the RSI, which means we're seeing a bit of a relief from all of that bearish price action. And as for short-term resistance, we need to pay attention to this level, which we saw an exact rejection from over the last one day, sitting at around 1575. But if we see a breakout back above that level, then in that case, we have the golden pocket sitting in between around 1605 to 1610, acting as resistance. And if you want to know how to make a lot of money in crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.